We've all seen the flexing fitness influencers do outside of the gym. They're sitting in their Lambos, they're gambling thousands of dollars, all while being shirtless so they can show off their physiques. But how are they actually affording this insane lifestyle? What do they do to make so much money? In this video, we're gonna get to the bottom of how they're making their money and how much a run-of-the-mill influencer could be making. At the end, I'll also talk about some of the most insane amounts the biggest gym bro influencers in the space could be making every single month. So fitness influencers as a whole really have so many different ways they can make money, some of which are like pretty wild, like promoting OnlyFans girls and taking a cut of their income. Looking at you, Brad. Or dumb, like trying to gamble their money into profit like Togi. So instead of covering all of that, we're just gonna focus on the standard fitness influencer playbook on how most of them make their money. But there's still so much variety in how much an influencer makes based on so many different factors. So for this video, to really comprehend how much someone could make, we're gonna be following a pretend mid-range influencer through the standard playbook. Our influencer is going to be this gym bro. Let's call him Chad. Chad gets 50,000 views a video on YouTube, which he uploads weekly. He has an Instagram where he gets 5 to 10,000 likes each post and 50 to 75,000 views on a story. He also gets 500,000 views on TikTok and 500,000 views on YouTube Shorts every single month. Now let's get into the playbook. In the standard playbook, there's going to be 4 different revenue streams or business models that fitness influencers use. The first is the most obvious one, and that's just the money the platforms pay them for their content and the views that they get. So basically just TikTok and YouTube payouts from ads, because Instagram doesn't pay anything at all. On these platforms, each video does differently because of the audience, the watch time, and many other factors, but we can make decent estimates. On YouTube, from the information I could find, most creators make around $3 to $15 per 1,000 views on long form videos. And fitness influencers are usually in the middle of that range, making around $5 to $10 per 1,000 views. But I've seen some on Reddit say that they're making $11 or even like $13 per 1,000 views, which is pretty crazy. On YouTube Shorts, it isn't as glamorous and not that easy to estimate. In general, I've seen people make 5 cents up to like 35 cents per 1,000 short views. So let's estimate at 10 to 15 cents for fitness influencers. TikTok is even wilder since you only get paid for videos over 1 minute long. There's a lot more factors at play there, but I've seen 2 cents up to over $1 per 1,000 views. So let's just estimate 20 to 30 cents for the gym bros. This income source is pretty decent, and most creators start off with this as their primary income source, but soon expand to the others to make a lot more money. Now let's go back to Chad. Based on these numbers, for 200,000 views a month on YouTube long videos at $7 per 1,000 views, he might be making $1,400. And 12 cents for shorts, his 500k views get him $60. And at 24 cents for TikToks, he gets another $120. And since Instagram pays nothing at all his likes and views are worth $0. So far totaling to $1,580, which is pretty decent, but the other income streams make so much more. So once an influencer starts getting consistent views and a decent amount of followers, maybe like 50,000, maybe a little less, they can start getting brand deals and sponsorships. Fitness influencers have a pretty standard plan that they can look forward to for this income stream. Pretty much every single one has a supplement brand sponsor and a gym clothing brand sponsor, and both of these have almost the same standard deal structure. There's always going to be an affiliate code for the creator's audience, which most of the time gives the audience a discount, and whenever the code is used, the creator gets a split of the revenue from that sale. This is usually like 10%, but it could be as low as like 0% or even up to 50, which is like really insane. The other part of the deal, which is really awesome, is a standard salary for the creator. This just gives them a consistent source of income which they can rely on every single month. And the standard for this one could be $2,000 to $4,000. I've seen some say $6,000, and really there's like no ceiling for this number. And just as a bonus, they usually get allocated some amount of product every single month so that they can use it for themselves, and it also helps them promote the brand in their content. For these deals though, they obviously have like some requirements they have to meet to actually keep the salary. It's usually like a number of Instagram posts, Instagram stories, and a number of YouTube videos where they mention or like promote the brand. So they still have to work for the money. They can't like just slack off, but the performance of their content doesn't matter as much here. So this makes it a pretty stable income source, which can be really nice in a super fluctuating industry. But they don't even have to stop there. They can just get like the normal brand deals for Instagram posts and YouTube videos, just like every other influencer. So the 60-second ad reads for VPNs, ground news, and drink brands, that kind of stuff. And a common one that a lot of fitness influencers are doing right now is called Cal AI. It's this fitness tracking software that uses the camera and AI to detect the calories in food. But in my opinion, this is super inaccurate and it seems not that useful, which I guess is pretty common for most YouTube sponsored products anyway. The pay from this stuff is like super variable, but most creators say they make more from it than from AdSense. So like at least equal to AdSense or even like double. level. Now, how much is Chad making from these sponsors? Let's estimate his salary for the supplement and clothing sponsor to be around $4K each, and the affiliate commission to be $2K from each sponsor. He could do one YouTube video sponsor at around $2,000 and one Instagram post sponsor at $1,500. So the total for his sponsor section is $15,500, around 10 times the AdSense. This kind of difference from sponsors to AdSense is really only like this for the fitness industry, as other content creators don't usually have the consistent like clothing and supplement sponsors like the fitness industry has. So other creators usually have like AdSense as around like 30% of their income. So Chad's total so far comes to $17,080. For the last two income streams that we just covered, the influencers rely on like someone else, either the platform or the brand sponsor, for their paycheck. But the next two methods are more self-reliant, as these methods are more standard business type of models. So the third model is the influencer selling their own products or services. A big and common service that many influencers start with is the fitness coaching that they sell. So just like being a personal trainer, giving their customers accountability, meal and workout plans, and weekly check-ins. And for this, a standard price that I've seen is around $300 a month per person. This business though is pretty hard to scale. So as they grow, they either start increasing the prices, selling more expensive offers, or have to change their service to include others. Some ways that they do this is like switching from individual coaching to group coaching, so more people can be included at the same time, or they switch the offer up completely. Like Alex Eubank now, instead of coaching people, he mentors them on how to become a fitness influencer themselves. And for this, he can charge a lot more money. Outside of services though, a pretty common one is selling physical or digital products. So going back to Alex Eubank, he created this program called the Greek God Training Program that he sold as one of his first digital products. And he said that he made $600 in his first weekend of selling this product.
Actually, fun story. I dropped out of school after I made $625 over the weekend, dropping my first fitness program. I had about 3,000 to 5,000 followers on Instagram at the time.
And since there's no product cost, it's 100% margin. So it's a extremely profitable income stream, but it's harder to be like successful at this than being a successful coach. A lot of influencers also sell like workout plans and meal plans, and some even make whole cookbooks like Damo or like Coach Greg.
Buy my freaking cookbook. There, do it.
There's a lot of opportunity in this model, and one thing that's really nice about it is that you can start right as you start making content. So you don't have to actually wait to get monetized on like YouTube or TikTok before you start making money, which is pretty useful for a lot of influencers. As for Chad, let's say he coaches 10 people at $300 a month and sells them around $500 in meal plans a month. So he makes around $3,500 in total from his own services and products, bringing his new total $20,580. So this last model, it doesn't rely on an external company to get the influencers their money directly. They're not taking checks from another company, but this still relies on the creator's brand. The last model that we're going to talk about actually has the potential to take the creator's brand completely away from their income stream and run by itself. The last model is actually to build a completely separate company with its own brand. A lot of the common companies that fitness influencers go into are creating their own clothing brand, like Connor Sinan did with Retaliation Project, or creating their own supplement line like Coach Greg or Derek from More Plates, More Dates, or even creating their own software apps for fitness like Jeff Nippard. At the beginning, obviously the creator heavily promotes their new company through their existing personal brand, but if they actually create a good product, they can make the company stand on its own 2 feet and start recruiting other influencers like they were recruited in the past. Fun fact, actually, some of these so-called products are apparently like created and managed entirely by another company, and they just get the influencers to be the face of the apps or the merch as if it's like their own thing. So like one company that does this is called like GenFlow. These types of businesses, they do fit the model that I'm talking about, but personally, I don't think most of these will ever grow out of being connected to the influencer's personal brand. So I don't really count these as sustainable businesses. This model though, I find it really super interesting, as like these influencers are leveraging their brands to grow like real businesses that have like the potential to be extremely massive. I'm talking tens or hundreds of $millions a year, which is like really awesome to see and to learn from, because like all this started from just like making videos and posting pictures online, right? Let's go back to Chad real quick. Let's say he's not really trying to do all this work, but he'll do the app and the merch deal with someone like GenFlow because it takes very little work on his part. So he might make like $3,000 to $5,000 combined on those two businesses. Let's say $4,000, which is a number I pulled that like straight out of my ass. This brings his total to $24,580 per month, making damn near $250K every year. This is obviously before like deducting business expenses and like taxes, but still that's a lot of money. But it's like nowhere close to even like what the top guys are making every year. I'll be going into that very soon, but still this is pretty amazing. And this is like a standard mid-range influencer. Getting to this point is like still hard to get to, but it's not like the craziest results that someone can get, and you don't have to be like an insane outlier to get there. You do have to remember though that like a lot of influencers like get to their peak and then die down. So if the mid-range influencer is like their peak, they might not make this much money for like a super long time. A lot of the top guys, even when their careers slow down from their peak, they're at the level that like Chad is at right now, so they still make bank even like when they're like technically washed up off their prime. So far, we've only talked about our hypothetical Chad and how much he's making. So now let's look at some real influencers and make some guesses on how much they're making. So let's start with Alex Eubank, who we referenced a bunch earlier. So he used to be the golden boy of the natural fitness influencer community. He had an amazing physique as a natural, and then once his career started dropping a little bit, he started hopping on steroids, and now he's still on steroids. But even though he's not at his peak anymore, he's still definitely a millionaire and still makes a lot of money. So starting with AdSense on his main channel, he's getting around 1 million views a month. 400,000 of those are from long form and 550,000 are from shorts. So with like $7 long form RPM and 12 cents shorts, we can just estimate around $2,900 a month. On TikTok, he got like 1 million likes. So maybe that's around 10 million views if like 10% of the views are likes, which I saw was like pretty standard for his channel. So at 20 cents per 1,000 views on TikTok, he made another $2,000. And then he has his own like podcast and like business channel. He has Twitter and Snapchat and like a bunch of different other platforms. So let's just like double the 4,900 that he made just from his main channel, and let's just say $10,000 a month. He has a clothing sponsor, Young LA, and a supplement sponsor, Bucked Up. So maybe like $6,000 each, since he isn't really getting like that many views right now. So that's another like 12K to his pile. Let's just assume that his jewelry sponsor is part of this 12,000, and he's still selling digital products. And since he apparently made 1,200 in a weekend when he had like 3,000 to 5,000 Instagram followers, and now he has millions of followers across like different platforms, we could estimate that he might be making $40,000 a month from his digital products. This is a total guess though, as there's really no way to estimate this. He also has a mentorship for fitness influencing, like I said before. There's like some pretty like successful creators in that program, so maybe like $10,000 a month at the minimum. And then he also used to have his own clothing brand called Elysium Athletic, but I think he shut it down now, so we're not going to include that. So if we combine everything, that's around $70,000 a month, and that's off his peak. He was like way better in the past, and he made millions during that time, and we have no idea what he's doing with all that money to make more now. And lastly, Mr. 260 himself, Bradley Martyn. Brad is a good one to look at because he's been popular in the fitness industry for a very long time and has probably been making a lot for many years. I'm talking like over 10 years. So that makes him like a good example for like a really top creator. So he has his main channel, his podcast, Raw Talk, and he probably has like multiple other channels. So from those two channels alone, he gets around 3 million long form views and then 15 million short form views. So around like $23,000 a month just from AdSense on those if they're all monetized. And then he has a lot of brand deals, especially like for his podcast. And he's also a founder of his own clothing brand called Raw Gear. And he also has his own gym, LA. All these are like pretty impossible to guesstimate like how much he's making from them. But he said like the gym costs just like $500,000 a year just for rent. And he says it's profitable. So maybe he's making like a few $100,000 a year from that. The craziest shit that he actually does is like promoting OnlyFans girls and then taking a split from them. And he was actually in the news for that because he was suing one of the girls after like she didn't pay him like his share of her earnings. But from all those, he probably gets a few $1 million a year, and he's definitely making at least like $2 million a year off this social media stuff alone. And he's been doing this for a long time, so he's set for multiple lifetimes. Like his kids, his grandkids, bro, they're all like pretty much set, is what I would assume. So now that you understand how much money like some of these guys are making, it's pretty obvious why so many teenagers and new creators are doing everything that they can to get popular. They're taking like hella steroids, some are even claiming to be natural while doing that, like the Liver King used to, or like creating hella fake like drama, like Hussein Farhat, or even doing like some insane ego lifting. People are so desperate to get some of this money that they're destroying their mental and like physical health. And every time someone gets rich doing it, more kids are gonna do the same. Like we see Togi doing hella drugs and gambling and taking steroids, making millions of dollars, and all the kids want to do the same thing. A lot of people will try to get successful with these like deranged strategies, but they won't succeed. So they're literally ruining their minds and their bodies for literally no money. It's horrible to promote this behavior, especially to young, insecure audiences, and something really needs to change in the fitness industry. People need to stop idolizing and like working with these degenerates. So that's it for this video. What do you guys think about it? Is it worth destroying your life for internet money? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you found this video interesting. I'm planning on releasing more business and like money type of content, which I personally really enjoy. So if you like that too, I think you'll like where this channel is going. This is my first upload in several years, so don't worry, I'll be consistent. But yeah, let me know if you think I was good at like estimating the amounts of money that they're making in this video. All my sources are going to be in the description.